Let's talk about overcoming objections. If you are a real estate agent who has joined the industry in the last 0 to 3 years, you might be learning that objection handling is actually a really important skill in real estate. We just didn't really have to use it as much in the years between 2020 and 2022 because the market was so hot. Now that the market is more balanced, expect there to be a lot of objections when you're dealing with clients because now people are a little less sure of whether or not they should be buying or selling right now. Not whether or not they can, whether or not they should. That is where objections come up. And so what I'm gonna do in this video is share my quick framework on how to overcome any objection. In future videos, I'll share some specific examples, but what I want you to do is like this video if you like this topic, and then leave a comment on specific objections you might want me to address in the future. Here's my 4-step framework to overcoming any objection. Oh, I lied. We have 5 steps. Here's the first step of my 5-step framework to overcome any objection. The first thing that you want to do when we're considering objections is make sure that you're doing research on your ideal clients. Yes, Stefanie, why must you always talk about the ideal clients? Well, because they matter in every single part of the transaction, even before it starts. The benefit to understanding your ideal client is you know and can prepare for what they are most likely going to be giving you on the objection side. What it comes down to is the best way to overcome an objection is to be prepared for it. And so I'm gonna give you a few really quick tips on how to research different objections that are happening in your market right now. You are going to find online and on YouTube and on social media these big talking head real estate coaches saying these are the objections that you need to be prepared for. But I just want to remind you that your specific clientele, who you are most likely to be doing work with, they're going to have a little bit more nuance to the objections that they will have for you, and you're just not going to be able to do it with a script. Like a flat out script that is very high level, very surface level is just not going to do it for you. You might feel good in the moment, but as you progress through that conversation and as more nuance enters the conversation, it's going to be harder to overcome that objection. And so you have to do the research up front. 4 quick tips to be prepared for any objection are the following. Number 1, listen to your ideal clients. If you get an objection that you weren't prepared for, or if you're getting questions from people that you're speaking to, that should be a kind of a tip that can lead you to an objection that you can prepare for. Understanding your ideal clients' hesitations, fears, and challenges can all lead to objections that you can prepare to overcome. For example, if you are working with a referral or even a past client who's asking about the market and expressing some very real hesitations about what they're seeing in news headlines, this is something that you need to be identifying as a possible objection that you will overcome in the future, because if one person is thinking it, probably everyone else is too. Now, the second thing you can do is to look to social media for some research. Go into whatever social media platform you like best or you hate least. On that platform, do some searching. Search for some viral videos about the real estate market and see what conversations people are having in the comments of those videos. Don't just look at the video itself and whatever the agent or real estate expert or economic expert is talking about. Look in the comments, because that is where the public is going to really kind of bear all and show what they really think about that topic. And you might come up with some really interesting ideas. The third way you can do some research on common objections in your market are to listen to what your colleagues are saying. So if you're in any Facebook groups or real estate agent communities, particularly those that are local, you want to be listening to what objections other agents who are working with clients in your area are coming across. This is why when I was a newer agent, I was always in my broker-led masterminds, any networking events, any association events. I was really active in the real estate community. Luckily, I'm in an area where that's easy to do. There's a lot of socializing in this particular realtor community. And whenever I'm having a conversation with a colleague, I ask them how business is going and kind of how it's going with their clients. From there, we have a natural conversation, and I'm really paying attention to what challenges they are hearing with people they are trying to convert into the sales process. And then finally, the fourth thing that you can do to really be prepared for overcoming objections is to speaking with your vendor partners. If you have a great lender partner, if you're working with a great home inspector, you want to be speaking to these individuals pretty regularly, like at least once a month, to see what they are hearing on the financing side or on whatever side they're involved in most. You will be shocked at how much you can learn just by having a conversation with a lender who is actively working with other clients, even if it comes down to the challenges that they're dealing with getting business too. So the mortgage industry right now, for example, they have a lot of challenges against them because refinances have basically tanked as interest rates have gone up. And with the economic challenges we are seeing with inflation and the job market, they have a really unique insight into how people are thinking when it comes to the actual finances, which directly impacts your ability to get through to a client on whether or not they should buy right now. Again, not whether or not they can or not whether or not they will, it's whether or not they should that we ultimately need to be helping people decide at this moment. Okay, so that is the research side of things. Now, even by researching common objections, you are going to come up with so many ideas on how to overcome the objections. So I can literally stop the video now, and you will have so much to go off of to overcome objections that you are likely to hear from your ideal clients. But let me share with you my 4-step framework on how to overcome the objection once you've identified it in a conversation with a prospect. And then in my next couple of videos, I'll share specific examples. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, you might want to just so you don't miss those. All right, let's set the scene. You've done your research, you're prepared for the objection, and you are ready to educate people through the home buying and selling process to help them achieve their goals. Great. You're having a conversation with one of your ideal clients and you get the objection. Here's what we're gonna do. The first thing you're gonna do, the first thing out of your mouth is to affirm and acknowledge. We have to remember that buying and selling a home is an intensely emotional process for people. This is not something they do often, and ultimately, this is going to rock their world for a couple of months if they choose to go through with this. We have to be conscientious of that fact. So the first thing you're going to do is affirm and acknowledge that this is a valid concern of theirs. This way you can immediately start building trust. If the first word out of your mouth is, "No, that's not true," you've just alienated them without even realizing it, because you did not take a moment to acknowledge their feelings in this highly emotional process. You might say things like, "That totally makes sense. If I was in your shoes, I would be feeling the exact same thing. I hear you. Those headlines are super scary and I've heard them too," right? Like, you just want to take a moment to acknowledge what they're hearing and affirm that it's a valid feeling. The second thing you're going to do is dig deeper. Tell me more about that. Tell me why that's really concerning you. If that is true, if that does happen, what does that mean for you guys? Why is that something that you're concerned about at this moment when it comes to buying or selling? You want to dig deeper because this is the concept of the question behind the question. The first objection they give you is kind of just like, well, this is scary. But what we need to get to is the because it can cause harm to me in these ways. We need to figure out specifically what they're afraid of happening. Now, again, in future videos, I'll give specific context and things to look out for with real examples. But you might already kind of get a sense for what it is we're doing here. We're trying to get to the root of the problem, like the real objection that is holding them back from making a decision confidently. Only then, after you have gone through step 1 of affirming and acknowledging, and step 2, dug deeper to find the true problem, then can you educate and help them get past this objection. If you do not take those first 2 steps, you are not going to lead them to a place of confidence and clarity. For example, let's just do a really quick high-level example. The objection is, "I'm not sure I should buy right now because there is so much uncertainty in the economy." I might respond to that and say, "Oh, I hear you. I know there's a lot of concerning stuff on the news headlines and on social media. What exactly are you hearing about that, and what exactly," I'm digging deeper here, "are you most concerned about with the economy?" Their response might be something along the lines of, "Well, you know, if we're headed towards a recession, what if the housing market crashes and I lose all my equity right after I purchase a home?" Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we can actually figure out what it is they're truly concerned about. Now, most agents, they hear that first thing where they say, "Oh, I'm concerned about the market," and they either back off completely, "Okay, I don't want to be salesy spammy," or they immediately dismiss those concerns by saying, the social media headlines, they don't know what they're talking about. You just need to buy a home because renting sucks, right? Like, do you see the difference of these approaches? That's what we're trying to accomplish here. After you educate the true challenge that they have, the true objection behind the objection, then you can offer expectations and create a plan with them. But that's going to be our 4 steps. You're going to affirm and acknowledge. You're going to dig deeper. Then, only then are you going to educate them through that objection. And finally, you can put them on a plan to actually get back on track to buy or sell, whether it's right now or whether they truly should wait for some time if through that conversation you guys decide that's what's best for them. How do we feel? I hope that this is giving you some really good context on how to navigate these tricky conversations. And if it is, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because what I'm going to do in my next video is share exactly how this shakes out with a specific situation involving a buyer. We'll see you there.